Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I heard you laugh. God. Bonjour, Anil.
Bonjour.
Very
Jonathan.
nice to have you here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I heard you like lasagna. The vegan one.
Well, we did have a very, very beautiful lasagna about 3 weeks ago.
Did we?
Which is now the benchmark for vegan lasagna across the world in Sion, your beautiful hometown, which I'm probably butchering with my pronunciation. But
No, it's fine. It's good.
But yeah, it was great.
I just feel bad for the Italians since you say that the best lasagna that you ate is Swiss.
We can cut this bit, right?
No offense. You tell me.
Just shun the whole nation.
No.
It was,
Close the border.
it wasn't as good as Italy, of course. But I've never had a vegan lasagna in Italy yet. So there is time.
So now you know what you got to do.
Now I know that
Good.
where we're starting from is good.
Beside lasagna, what have you been to in the past months?
Wow, good question. So took a fairly long break over Christmas, New Year's. My wife took a sabbatical and we did like a combination, seeing family in the UK. We saw family in India. I was working bits in between on the weekends. And then we had a really nice trip in the US and Mexico in pretty much most of February, which was great. Like really nice, having not been to the US for more than 15 years. So
Wow.
that was really energizing to see how my memories have changed and, you know, our visions of the US from Western media as well. And it's really good to be challenged on all these things and have some also really nice parties to go to. A lot of good food. I'm back on a diet again afterwards because there was a lot of eating and drinking, but it was really good fun. Yeah, and good recharge before the start of the year to get back into everything.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
And you told that you were working also during this whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Please.
So I was doing gigs at the weekend, but really switching off as much as possible during the week. So I didn't even take my laptop to America because I was conscious that Tina also really took this time out for her sabbatical, and it shouldn't really be all about me working and then on my laptop all week and then working at the weekend. So at least, you know, if I had to do some work at the weekends, that's fine, and also fun for us as well. But then was really just trying to have some holiday through the week as well. So
That sounds good.
yeah, trying to keep the balance as much as we could.
So you kept a job next to your weekend activities, let's say like this. You're transitioning.
Me with work.
Yes.
Yeah, because so I've been working a day job since shortly after we moved to Berlin, which was 2014, and I think I picked up a day job early 2015, and I only just gave that up 6 months ago now. So I'm still mentally preparing myself for everything that comes with that, and it is like a lot of free time. Well, not free time, a lot more time that I can be in the studio now because I have a new studio space near home. It's more time that I can be buying music and digging and trying to be a better DJ, more time to produce, more time. I've started a new label recently, so it's just more time to do the things that I didn't have the time
That
to
sounds amazing.
before. It's very liberating. It's also still a little bit scary to not have that kind of extra income every month, but it had to happen at some point, and I'm very grateful that I can do this with enough to keep everything going, but still, like, you know, after working for so long, you still think about it a lot.
When I see you talking about this right now, I'm just like, this is not so nice to see that we shared a similar experience.
Yeah, and for me, and maybe for you as well, it gave me so much more artistic freedom when I wasn't looking for money from my passion. Like, I had a job, then I'm really just gonna put my heart and soul into this with zero expectation, and what comes. And, you know, things change later on, and now I'm back into full time. But that taught me such a good lesson. And if we go back again, prior, I was really in a mindset of like, I need to chase this gig. I need to chase this record label because I'll get this gig. And then moving here, having that experience where everything hit the ground was just such a horrible but necessary reset. Like, it was such a good palate cleanser. Start again, start afresh, change your attitude. Like, what do you want to achieve? Go towards it. Don't rely so much on other people. Do your thing. Like, be surrounded by nice people that you love and care about, and that's also
and support you.
A huge thing.
Yeah.
And I've been very lucky with that, with friends, with my wife, with my family. Like, I've been super, super lucky. So I've been wanting to start a label for years because I get sent a lot of really good music from a lot of producers. Mm-hmm. And I've always felt the desire to be able to showcase that somehow, because there's so many amazing producers out there that, for many reasons, well, actually the people I'm signing are on also really good labels, but there are lots of producers out there that send me good music and I really want to present it, let's say, because I really believe in it. And now that I have this extra time, I finally have the chance to present that, and just very happy to do that. So the first record I was on, so they're going to be like split EPs, so 2 sides, 2 producers, so one on one side, one on the other. The first one was with me and an Italian guy called De Luca, who's just doing this very amazing techno. Next one is with Arthur Robert and Decker, both people that I've been playing for a long, long time. And then the third record will be with Camellia and Dakota, who are 2 kind of younger artists, I would say. But wow, I think they have got like a really promising future ahead of them. So I feel very lucky that they also trust me to join this project as well. So
awesome. Paula told us about them in her podcast, the first one.
Camellia, was it? Or
Dakota.
Dakota. Yeah.
Very young guy from the US, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, from the US, and he's super young. And he churns out so much amazing music. Like, once every couple of weeks, I ask him for a new playlist. And he's just sending me like all this new music. And I'm like, how are you able to produce so much music? And
dedication. Dedication.
And dedication and talent and fair play. I think, I believe in everyone on my label. I would hope I would anyway. But I am really happy to have this crew together and create like a small, very tiny community around. And like I was saying to you earlier, I feel quite grateful that when I moved to Berlin, that I was presented with opportunities, and it's nice to be able to do that the other way around. And not that I think these people need opportunities, but it's nice. I like to collaborate as well.
Of course, like to give back to the scene what she gave to you, like what's been given to you when you were younger, or their age, or their state. Like, this is very nice. So really like this dynamic.
Yeah. So, and I'm speaking to a few different artists about the next records, and it's nice to take on a slightly more A&R role where we're kind of going back and forth with different ideas, and that's refreshing and a new way of working for me as well. And it takes time, but it's really rewarding. And I'm excited to see how this develops as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
What is your musical routine, if we can call it like this, or your production? Like, what does your week look like? How do you plan all the activities?
Yeah, so if I go back a year ago, let's say, where it was different because I was doing the day job, then I would need to plan a week to produce music, and I would book it as holiday, or I'd do overtime, and I wouldn't really leave the house for a week, apart from going for a run, or if I needed to go out and get a coffee or something, because I was going nuts inside. And I found that to be quite a healthy process for me, because I was like, look, I've got this time, I value this time, and I need to make music. And it was kind of a weird process. It was like day 1, 2, 3, I'd be like, it's the worst music I've ever made, and I should retire. This is like Wednesday lunchtime. And then Wednesday afternoon, I'm like, okay, I've given up hope. There's no pressure. Let's move on to another career. And then I'm like, that sounds good. And it's such a bizarre dynamic that would happen every time. And then normally I'd be able to churn out like 2, 3, 4 tracks or an EP in like 2 days after that, because I just need to get into this state of mind. So to answer your question, I'm still formulating my full-time musician way of producing, but it's still a case that I would rather set blocks of time. I don't think I do well going to the studio every day to produce music. I still go there almost every day, even if I need to send emails or find music for DJ sets or download promos. I still like to be in that space because I'm in a working frame of mind. But to produce music, for me, it's less is more. Just, and I know everyone has a very different approach. There's some people I know have to go in every day to keep that muscle memory going. And I need to find that muscle memory whenever I go back, which is maybe once every month or two. I would try a week and just really focus on that and make sure I've got nothing else on my plate for that week. And ideally, I wouldn't have any gigs at least that Friday that week, so I can really focus on it. And then I'll think about retiring again by Thursday, and then it will come, I'm sure. But that's just how it works. It's a very bizarre relationship I have with creation.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has a similar.
I think we all do.
I think so, right?
On a different level. We all do have like this kind of mindset, or like things that you just want to not necessarily give up, but just give it a break.
Yeah. But I'm really, now for the first time, I actually have a studio, which is in Neukölln. It's like an underground bunker. So whereas before I was producing in a really bright light room, which is really nice because actually I get inspiration from seeing sunlight for sure. But now I'm in this underground bunker and it has like pretty cool lighting like in here, and I can change the lights, and then I can feel like I'm a bit in a club. So that has a different dynamic. And I think also, I mean, I'm fairly happy with the stuff I've made in there so far. So
how does that
touch wood
impact your sound? How does your atmosphere impact the sound?
I think I can just really get into the frame of mind of being in a club, because I'll just turn the lights off, put the red LEDs on. And that's, I think that's a good thing for me, because whenever I'm producing music, I'm trying to think of myself on a dance floor and being in that environment where it's very dark and dingy and red. It works pretty well.
What does make a great party to you?
So I think people that are willing to go with you on the journey. Like when I always try and replicate myself being back on the dance floor, and I just want someone to tell me their story and be in it and live that story that they're telling. And for me, the best crowd is people that will be patient, and because I like to always play a bit deeper, at least at the start, and just ease into things rather than going. I need to warm myself up to the TikTok bangers after about 10 minutes normally. No, but
the intro and then
I jest. But I really like to take time, because again, I think in Berlin we're really lucky getting to play long sets. So you need people that are willing to go with you on that journey rather than starting high and keeping it high. I like to go ups and downs, and that for me is so important that people are open to that. And I think there are lots
promoters, you mean, then, or like as a crowd, like
the crowd, yeah. And I think here we're really lucky that people are so patient as well. For me, like I feel very, very lucky about that. And people go with you, and they're with you. Again, it's that very utopian, but it's that feeling of unity, of like everyone being together. And what comes to mind now is like not a high stage or being far away from people, because I really
share the energy.
I need to get the energy from people, and that makes such a huge difference.
Taking and giving.
Yeah, and then it's like a real team effort when you got new people around you. It's like it's so gratifying when you got people around you, and then we're all going together. again, utopian, but it's like really, there's nothing that can top that feeling when you feel like the whole room is one together, and we're all moving together, and we're smiling together, and we're feeling everything together. There's nothing tops that. That's what I was chasing, always.
What do you think about the current situation since Corona, how the whole scene evolved, like how fast everything became, like got with the evolution, DJs becoming like super famous in a very short amount of time, the amount of BPM we have in the music, like the DJs play music over 150 BPM just like became the standard somehow? How do you perceive all this?
It's not my cup of tea, 150 BPM stuff. But if anything, I'm going slower. But my perception is that I guess during that time, people had nowhere to express themselves in a club or a venue. Then you need to find different ways to energize or to enjoy music and experience it. But when you've got like a limited visual thing, then there has to be other ways to get emotion and energy out of people. And I think BPM is a very quick way to do it. It's just, it's not my thing, and I don't judge. It's just like, it's a different world for me sometimes. Like, but I don't know. And there's been a big like trance regeneration, but I think that's been going on for years as well. And for me, like, I understand why people really love trance, because that's what I was listening to in the late 90s. But it's like second time around, it's not really interesting for me. Apart from maybe like one or two very old trance tracks that I keep in the bag that still haven't been played. So I understand it from the outside, but I don't get excited by it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I respect why people enjoy it and they need this high energy, high intensity stuff, but it's just not for me. And there's many reasons why that is, I guess. I'm not sure I'm really articulating that at all.
I get you. I think like there was so much energy stuck, especially like in young people, especially in young people during this whole time, and then everything had to come out at once. And just like for young people, or like just as we all couldn't go out for like 2 years, so they kind of went back or like parties as much as they could, as hard as they could, because they couldn't do it in the 2 past years. And with the BPM and also this, like we had the discovery of like new genres, just like this new kind of hard trance, we can call it this. But it, like in names or showcases, like there is or labels, there's Live from Earth that's doing a very good job with DJs like MRD or Narciss. This kind of guys. I think like Julian Muller, and they put all this kind of, they made a very good sound. Like they recreated or like reinvented this whole sound. And then you have on the other side like the more industrial sound that we've been talking about this like in the last episodes. Doesn't sound nice, but we call it like the TikTok techno. Or Kyle Geiger put that on. I had to laugh so much about it. He put that on Twitter. He said, "You call it TikTok techno. I call it GBL or like GHB EDM."
Kyle has a very good overview on the world, I think.
He's amazing.
So he articulates himself in very few characters very well, I feel like.
He's so cool, and like he knows what he's talking about. And he invited me a few months ago, like to talk about a project. And I was amazed by his how he leads conversations. He's very inspiring. Like since he knows his stuff, it was very nice, like to see like the other perspectives, like not me talking, but like me like not asking the questions, but like answering to the question he was. I had to think, because like right now in this kind of constellation, I'm just like rebounding off what you say, because like when I say, oh, this is nice, I would like to know more about that. Then the situation got inverted, and it was very, very interesting for me to be on the other side.
I could talk to Carl for ages. He's a very interesting character to talk to. I'm just thinking more about this whole high energy stuff as well. I'm still trying to articulate what I'm feeling about it, and I still can't. So I don't know. It exists. It's there. The trends again will come in and out. And I I don't know. I feel like it's tailing off a little bit already.
I don't know.
I could be.
Is it like you use the word trend? I think it's a very, very good word to describe this.
Yeah.
I have the feeling that there is not necessarily enough passion and a lot of producing it, that they just like jumped on a train of something that's been running for a few years now.
Yeah.
That's working.
And
but
you're
that's
too late already, I guess.
Yeah, probably. But like, maybe this is a good way for them to start and they to continue on in another direction. Just as you've said before, 15 years ago you were producing house or like playing house, and right now you're into totally different genres. Maybe that's gonna be like the next thing. On the other side, like since everyone has Ableton nowadays, it's just like, how do you difference the good stuff from the bad one? Just like sounds like a kind of social media phenomenon with the quantity and not enough quality somehow, like you know it better than everyone here about the digging of music, like how many hours and hours and hours you need to look for like search to find good music and then to put things together. And this might be, or like this is very difficult, like if you're online and do not have necessarily a few years of experience, is something you gotta learn. And I don't know if using social media is useful nowadays to dig, or like you have your promo list. What advice would you give to a young producer that is in this kind of music right now to develop his or her own style?
We all have our entry point, and there's a lot of young people out there that find excitement in everything. I was listening to like Tiesto and Paul van Dyk in 98, 99, and it's everyone has to find their way through pop or everything. Yeah, I just wanted to agree with you that I think that what's happening now is there's a lot of young people into this sound, and that's great because we need more people in our community in general. So like I try not to judge even if I'm not into the music, because we've all been there. I think. But
was it so big back in the days? Because, like, for example, you've cited Paul van Dyk and Tiesto. These guys have been there for ages, and they're still in the scene.
I know, right?
My question now is, like, do you think that the youngsters that are producing right now will still be in the scene in 20 years, since so many people are producing? Because, like, the market, especially in Berlin, is oversaturated. Like, people, especially DJs or TED artists or, like, creatives in general, we all live in Berlin because like it's a very inspiring city, because we are like a huge amount of creatives like hanging out together, communities, clubs, whatever you do there. Like this is very inspiring experiences, but we don't make our money here. We go like somewhere else. Doesn't matter if like Germany or Europe or rest of the world to show the rest of the world what we learn and what we do here. But here, like, it's very, very difficult, like, to stand out. And especially for DJs, I don't think that you can have a proper living in 2023 with only DJing in Berlin.
I think there's only probably a small percentage of people that can really do it with just one source of income like that. Especially if we look at inflation of kebabs you were talking about earlier, right?
Kebabs are over at €7 now. That's a scandal.
I think there's probably like more people with side hustles than you think, I guess, from the outside, and it probably becomes difficult just to stay in your one lane and not be able to move or have something else happening on the side. I think there's not a huge amount of people that can like live 100% just off that.
We were talking about tattoos. You have no tattoos.
I don't.
You don't?
Pretty much most of my household, my growing up household have tattoos, and most of my friends group have tattoos. And I really admire and respect the art, especially with what you do, because I feel like you have a real signature. And I know
Thank you.
You tell me about your creative process and how it's also, sometimes struggle to switch off, going back to this whole like full-time artistic creative world that we live in. But I really admire the signature that you have created with that, because I've been following your work for a little while now. So it's
Thank
nice.
you.
But I don't have any tattoos. Like my mum doesn't. My dad does. My sister does. My brother. a lot of my friends.
I tattooed my dad a few weeks ago, and he turned 60 last year, and he wanted that tattoo for his 60th birthday. And
okay.
I'm super happy about it. Like, he's super proud, like, show it to everyone. Like, this is so sweet.
May I ask what was the design?
It's a scorpion. We're gonna show it in the video.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, his scorpion as well, and it was super sweet because he turned 60 last year, and I asked him, like, hey, with having in mind, like, hey, I would like to offer you a tattoo because, like, this would be something very bonding. And he told me, I would like a tattoo from you. And so we decided to do it, like, after the winter because, like, as you could see in Switzerland where I'm from, we have a lot of mountains. So, like, we ski in the winter. And this was, like, so, like, he skis every weekend, 2 or 3 days a week. And we decided to do it, like, after the season. And we did it a few weeks ago. And now he's
good bonding process for you, right? Like something.
Yeah. It was also like, shit, I'm gonna tattoo my dad. I can't fuck up. That was also like in my mind. And then when I did it, like, I was like super confident because I really liked the design. Like, we designed it together. Like, he had a first idea, and then we saw, like, I understood that he was not sure about what he was getting, like, about first. Yeah. And I was like, I can see that you don't know what you want to get. Here, have a look at my flashes. We had a look, and it's like, hey, let's do a scorpion. Like, I see that you've drawn some scorpions, and I think it's very, very nice. Yeah. And let's do one like this. And then we did it together, and like half an hour later, we started.
Amazing.
And 2.5 hours later, he was getting out of the studio with a fresh tattoo on the chest, and super proud. Cheers.
It is a really interesting topic, I think. Alcohol and clubs and DJs and having everything thrown at you and learning to say no. Because I guess especially, like you were saying as well, like young people getting thrown in at such a quick rate.
So fast.
And I think it must be hard to say no in that situation. And I know other people that maybe drink to calm their nerves when they DJ, and I get that as well, but it turns into a spiral sometimes. I think it's a bit dangerous.
I remember when I first organized parties 7 years ago, I was so nervous at the beginning, and I used to have a few drinks from the artist dinner up to the opening, and I was so nervous that nobody would come to the event. That was like 7 years ago, and like at the end, like not at the end, but like since the beginning, it was always packed. Yeah, or almost, usually 1 or 2 exceptions. But it was also like something that it was more kind of a stress relieving thing.
Pressure, so much pressure with that.
Like, hey, you just wanted to offer the best quality and like to have the best people around you to make the DJs happy, to do that everything just like works. And it made me nervous. Yeah, I was at the beginning of my 20s, and like right now it's more about this kind of discipline thing where I'm just like telling myself before going to club, even like if it's like 1 week before, like, hey, I'm not gonna drink too much or whatever, because it's just like, shit, I'm gonna regret it on the next day. It's like from Monday on. And like when I was putting this whole project together, developing the concept, etc., I had long discussions with many other DJs who are in the game since a few years, longer period of time, and most of them told me, like, if you decide to have a few drinks on a Saturday night, it's okay. Your week starts at 10:30 on a Monday morning. But if you do other things, your week starts on Wednesday afternoon. So half of your week is fucked.
Really,
and that for me was like the moment where I just like cut some things off, it just made a huge difference.
Yeah, certain things have a longer recovery time.
Do you exercise?
I'm into running, was my thing. I used to be really intensely overweight, like obese. I was more than 30 kilos heavier than I am now. So like I went through a very heavy phase in my life like a while ago, and running kind of got me around that. I don't know. I mean, and also diet is so important. I think you can't cure bad diet with exercise. I believe that, but I mean, when you put the both together and like be conscious of what you're doing, both in movement and eating, like that was the thing that got me out of that. But exercise was such a huge part of that. And the bonus part was that with this lifestyle, it gives that balance, like to be alive in the week as well. Because actually, like, I mean, traveling a weekend, you know, drinking, whatever you do, it's so
exhausting.
It's so unhealthy. Like, it takes you years off your life, I imagine. And it's good to have some kind of routine to be fresh again.
That's the thing. I think it's really like the balance thing, and like when you get used to the nice things in life, to the good quality. We're talking about food before, but like I do come from a region, as you know, where we have very good wine and like amazing food. And when you just like get to know this kind of thing, you just can't do without somehow. So for example, where even if I do not eat meat during the week, I just like eat it only during the weekend, or like when, or like alcohol, so like not under the week, exception, for example, today. But it's like, it's just about relearning things, having rules, a discipline, and just like enjoy things just as they are.
Yeah.
This is what a few tips that I can like discover for myself over the years, like to have fun, but like still being very productive.
Yeah. And it works for you.
Yes, but I remember like I discovered that somehow, even if work is not work, it became a kind of drug. So working is a hobby. We're talking about being creative.
Yeah.
Taking the time, not depending on that. When you have a cash flow going from outside, not having the pressure, then you just don't stop. Since you earn money with your hobby became your job. To talk like in terms for everyone, it's just like there is no limit anymore, just like a lifestyle. And if you don't do it, you feel bad. Like, if I don't draw a day, I feel bad.
As I say, you feel guilty, yeah? Like, because you've been given this opportunity and you're not making the most of it. But actually it can be the other way around, where you need to rest to make the most of it. Like it's.
What was the biggest risk you've taken?
I think it was opening that bottle of wine at 3 p.m. today. I feel like that's a big risk for me. Come 10 p.m. tonight, I tell you that for free.
So
Jonathan.
That's on me, no?
Yeah, biggest risk happened today. But
our glasses are empty.
But it comes with great reward as well.
It was good quality though.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, good
Thank
quality.
You. That was a very good question, and I turned it around. Sorry, I'm trying to think. I think moving to Berlin was a big risk. Why? Actually, because I'd never been here before.
Yeah, so you just like decided like, hey, let's move to Berlin.
It was a massive whim. Like, so Tina, who I speak about, and you know also, like, we were in India and we just got married, and we were like, let's move, because we didn't see our future careers in India. We felt that it would be better for us, more opportunities outside. And we were thinking about the UK, but was that right for us? Like, I'd lived in the UK before, and, you know, it just comes with a different, like, big city life comes with a different, like, high rent, high costs, everything. And then we had, like, I think one friend that lived here and a friend of a friend that lived here. And we were like, let's just go and see what that's all about with, like, the 2 suitcases. That was pretty risky, I think.
We
moved our whole life.
Definitely.
And, like, Tina's also, like, a graphic designer. She was doing well with her business there. And I was about to be a very unsuccessful DJ moving to Berlin, as I mentioned before. And, I mean, that was in 2014. Had been reading and hearing from friends a lot about Berghain, and booked a flat close to there because I thought we should try it out. And yeah, it really paid off. Like, it took some time, like I was mentioning before. Like, there was a lot of grounding involved. It was soul crushing at the start and a very different experience. But wow, it really paid off. Feeling very grateful to have met the people and the musical experiences. It ignited my love of music coming to the city, and that club just was like this whole fresh energy that from when I first heard those kick drums on the radio, it was back again, and I'd lost that the years before. So that was a huge reward from quite a weird risk, because we'd never been here before, and it was like, oh, Berlin.
That's
Techno. Yeah, cool. Let's go there. All right.
So you didn't play techno back in the days?
I was playing techno, but I mean, I went through everything, like trance, house, progressive house, techno, but I was more in like a much deeper side of techno. Like I didn't really experience and in the sound systems that were here, like to really get the full
experience,
full body experience. Yeah, and that's so important. Like for bass, like I'm so addicted to like bass lines and kick drums, and it's like, who isn't? Like again, but it's like that was so refreshing coming here and really living that and understanding why it's so important and the history here and.
On every aspect, like it stays kind of mecca of the scene.
Yeah, really, and it still excites me. Like it still does, and I still will get out and go clubbing at least once a month, and like because I also want to hear other people play and like feel the dance floor and just be in it, and that's always been my love since the 90s, since those very first handbag house parties, like. Getting lost in the music, and it still excites me now, and as much or even as more as time goes on sometimes. Like
what I really like about parties here is that there's always the moment where the party's not done but you decide to go home, where it's like I decide now I had a good time, I'm going home,
because it will go on forever sometimes.
That's the thing, and that's the thing, the beauty in all of this, until a certain amount of hours. Never done any closing, and I will very probably never do any closing. And it's like to be able, like in Berlin, to be able to live before the end. Because like I always had a bad feeling when I was closing other clubs, like at 6 in the morning in order to see. It was just like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Where it is, and like you don't want to go on after parties like this. It's like. Yeah. Always depends on the context, of course. Like at very nice after parties, which is like stay with friends, have a good time, watch the sunrise, this kind of things. Especially in Switzerland, where you have, as you could see, amazing landscapes. So like,
I know
to go out of the club and like to see landscapes, then we have there as a kind of crazy thing. But yeah, in Berlin, it's a different thing. Especially during the winter, you don't want to do that.
Even the summer, it's like pretty scary to walk out like Monday morning. You're like, jeez.
And then you have the families walking around with their children going out of the club.
Uber, quick. Yeah, but I agree. It's nice to go when you're fresh still and when you're in a good mood, rather than. Sometimes it can be addictive, like staying in these. Well, not sometimes it can be addictive.
It is.
Something always like pulling you back in, and it's good to try and leave while you're still in a good frame of mind and before it ends.
Yeah, because the party is so good, the music, the quality, the atmosphere, whatever is happening right there. We're blessed. We're blessed to live this amazing period here in Berlin.
I feel so grateful that we took that jump and came here. Like really, like we don't look back. Like there's no other city I can see myself living in right now.
Anil, thanks a lot for this amazing talk.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot, and really kudos to you for what you're doing and your whole team. Like it's very impressive.